guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we are actually going to be starting the raised flower bed. So as you may or may not know, I recently took up some of the decking. I've still got to take up the rest of it, but we will be basically repaving this area, and we're going to be using the decking boards. We're going to be reusing them to make a long raised flower beds, about 3 boards in height. And then about 60 centimeters in depth, and then yeah, I'm not entirely sure what the full length is, but what we need to do is currently cut these boards down, so it will stop about there, I believe, and then that'll be our section for our flower beds, etc. So what we'll do, we'll get our boards cut and then we can start piecing them together. I'm going to be using a circular saw for this one, so I'll do my sideboards first and then we'll crack on. So it probably doesn't look like much now, but that should give you an idea of height, hopefully, that we're going for, and width as well. So what I'll do is I'll do sideboards and then we can start bolting them all together. Right, so what we're going to do now is start placing the boards together. So what I've done is the subframe for the original decking, I've just cut those down. We're going to use those as the corner piece because they're all treated, they're all pretty good, pretty sturdy, quite thick, so they should hold. We'll do the side section. Now due to the weight of it, what we don't want it to do is collapse, so we're going to have to put center pieces to prevent it from collapsing in on itself. What I'm trying to do is, because it's quite deep, I'm trying to use some of the old screws that were in the original decking. Sometimes it's quite hard because the heads might be filled with all sorts of stuff, quite compacted in, so it'd be difficult to get the screws out. As you saw, what I did is I just literally leveraged the screws out just to get them out quicker. But if you want to salvage them, what you can do is get a drill bit, slot them in and just clean them up. You want a pretty small drill bit where you can just get it into the head, clean up the fillet section, and then they're good to go and reuse. Right, so as you can see, we've got the full length cut now. All we've got to do is bolt it all together and then get it in place. Then we've got to do the bottom boards and then we can finish off with doing the fascias. As you can see on the smaller sections, what I've done is these have been mounted so that they mount together on the joins. I'm not overly fussed about the 2 smaller joints being in the same place opposite each other, because we're not going to be moving it. It's going to have an outside support as well, so there's not going to be much flex in it, so there's no reason to have any concerns with it collapsing. Not only that, we've got internal structures which are going to be mounted together throughout the frame as well. So I'm perfectly happy with bolting the two small sections at one side. Some might put one small piece that side and the other piece at the far end, but I'm perfectly happy with this. Right, so now we've finished the main structure. I've leveled it all off. Annoyingly, because we got this pillar, fence pillar, it's concreted around. We obviously don't want to disturb that, so I've had to cut a small section at the back so I could get the back of the bed level, but I've measured it at the front and I'm happy with it. So hopefully you can see that level there. Measured it at the back, again level, and then across, which is again level. So happy with that. What we need to do is put a lining around the frame before we put the soil in. That will prevent the timber structure getting damaged and just the longevity of the structure. But what I'm going to do now is I'm going to start with the actual aesthetic side of it and just start putting the fascias on, make it look a bit more presentable. Then I'm going to cut the grass and call it a day. Enjoy the rest of my Sunday. Right, so annoyingly I've run out of staples, so I'm going to have to leave it at that. I actually did buy some staples, but I bought Stanley ones as opposed to the Ron Sol staples, so they don't actually fit. It's so frustrating, but what I'm going to do, I've left it for now. I will start to do the front fascias, and then once I get some staples I can finish off lining the inside. It means I can actually get some proper liner as well, and then just go over it, so it'll effectively have a double lining at the front and a single lining around the rest, making sure that the front stays nice and fresh. Well, the whole thing will be nice and fresh, but especially the front doesn't start bleeding through with soils. guys, right now, so what we're going to do is we're going to cut down the timbers to do the top of the raised bed. What I'm going to do, I'm going to try and actually do them at a 2-inch thick border as opposed to the length of the board, which is 4 inches thick. Hopefully we should get away with it, but I'm going to use the circular saw just to get those cut down, get all my timbers cut, and then we can start doing the edging and also the bottom section of the raised bed as well, just so it all fits in nice and neat. Right, so happy with that. We've got our 2 sections cut. These are now cut into 2 inches width. And what we use is to frame the top of it so you can no longer see the decking boards, and hopefully this should do the job, make it look nice and good. Right, what we want to do as well is we want to have a nice decorative finish at the top, so we're gonna butt these up together. So what we want to do is put a 90-degree cut in the top of the boards. Now the best way that I found to do this is we've got get our tape measure. This is if you don't have a square, get your boards because they're all going to be cut exactly the same. So we've got these boards are just under 2 inches, so they're about 1.75, or they're bang on 1.75. So what we want to do, cut. So 1.75, go down 1.75, and then this will give us our perfect square. So just get a pencil, just marking that. Right, so get a pencil, mark across, and then what you should have is from this corner to the bottom corner will give you your measurements, which is 2.5 inches, and then that should be exactly the same on the other side, 2.5 inches, which is perfect. So this gives us our perfect square. So now we can do a perfect cut through there, and that will give us our perfect angle to butt each corner section up to each other. So I'll get my circular saw, give that a straight cut, and then we'll do the same on the next one. Okay, so that is now the top of the board done. These are not been screwed in because what I need to do is finish the lining around the other edges. What I've done is I've butted it up at the top there because I didn't have a timber long enough to do the full length, and another one there. So these will all get screwed into place, as you can see, hopefully. There we go, not screwed in, sorry, they'll get nailed into place. Then once it's lined, nail those in, then we can start filling it again. What I will do is put another support that goes across here, prevent any bowing. Although it's screwed at the bottom all the way along, I just don't want the top boards to start pushing out. So I'm going to put another one at the top, just a little bit lower so it's not visible, and then we can keep bedding it in and go from there. So what I'll do is I'll just cut the last bit of timber, which will go at the bottom there to make it look nice and flush. Just quickly, now one of the things about this project is we're using recycled wood, which is the old decking, and then we put a fascia on it to make it look aesthetically pleasing. Now, as you know, we've got a lot of offcuts where we've married in the corners and butted them up. These do come in very handy because they're perfect 90-degree angles. You could always use these if you're perhaps making a shelf or want some extra noggin supports on two 90-degree planks. put them in, you can screw straight in there, just to give you that bit of added support. So don't throw these away too quickly, keep hold of them because you never know when they might come in handy. Right, so that is all of our timbers cut for the flower bed, so we can start getting those nailed in and then we can hopefully get it filled. What I've installed is just a centre support beam which is halfway up. This won't be visible because it'll be buried in the soil, but what this does is just prevents it from bowing out once it's filled, because it's quite a large bed. As you can see, it's about 3.5 meters in length. I will measure it up, but it's come up really nice so far, so I'm quite happy with it. So once I've finished, we'll have the finished product shortly. Right, okay, we've now got our membrane, so we can now start lining the inside. So we'll get this cut open, get it lined, get it filled. We've now finished lining the flower bed. So we're not putting a bottom liner because we're not going to add any drainage. It's just going to drain back into the natural soil. So that's fine. We've just literally coated the outside just to protect the woodwork. We put a structural support just to prevent it from bowing out as well. And it's been stapled into the boards. And what we're going to do is just make sure that these boards are filled underneath so they don't start collapsing in on the soil. Otherwise they will just be pointless and prevent the structure from supporting. So what we'll do is we'll start filling the bed. Actually no, what we'll do is we'll put all the side supports on, then we'll start filling the bed. Also, what you can look at doing, just to make sure you've got extra support on your front fascia boards, you can screw them in from the back before you put your soil in. Just get a few screws that are long enough, not too long, obviously you don't want them to start protruding forward to the front, but if you feel that your nails are not going to be supportive enough, then just use those and that will anchor it in from the back, and then you can backfill it with soil. Okay, so I've now filled the raised bed with as much soil as possible, and I've left probably say a good, don't know how far that is, but quite a fair bit for some topsoil. Unfortunately I don't have enough topsoil to fill all of this bed. I'm probably going to need about another 2 bags, maybe 3 bags, so we're going to start on this section, and then once we get some more bags we can do this section. But I'm really pleased with the way it's turned out. So it's quite easy to do. In total this cost me about 50 quid, and the reason being is just for the front fascia boards. The main structure is built out of recycled decking board. We've got bearings in the middle and at the bottom to support it, stop it from bowing with all the soil, and then we've lined it as well to protect the timbers as best as possible and just give it a bit of longevity as well. So what we'll do is get it filled with some topsoil and start planting our herbs and our plants or whatnot. But if you like this one, please like, subscribe, and thanks for watching. This wall